All right, Husky Building Company, here we go. Hey, this is what I talked about yesterday. This is our new 3-inch LED light that we're going to be using for our install on version 3.0. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. All right, so here we go. We're going to be actually installing this in a different sequence than we would with the traditional install can that you guys put in our ceiling section. So good news is simplifies our process a little bit, but this will be, again, used more often in a remodel situation, which is the majority of probably what our lives are going to be, unless we're going to become custom home builders, which is always a good trait. But in any event, this is going to be a great feature. Let me unbox this real quick. I want to show you what it is because this just kind of gets us caught up to date, and then we'll head back into the classroom and we'll start looking at an introduction to drywall, so we know what we're doing before we actually start picking up the material and cutting and fitting. Because today, I can't even go over to High Country Lumber because it's snowing outside, and so picking up a 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of 1/2-inch drywall is not fun in a blizzard, so we're going to do something else. So anyways, check this out. This little bad boy is part of this fixture. There's our lights right there in this cool little compact setup. Take a look at this. First question, what do you think that is? Right there, that little thing, okay? So we're gonna pause, let you answer that question, and we're gonna come right back at you. All right, you guessed it, that is the junction box, aka J-box. That allows us to junction our wires, and if we pop that little cover off, and hopefully we can do that with my fingernail, or we are going to need some tools. Looks like tools. Literally, I have never worked with these before, and so let's pause for a second. I'll grab some tools and we'll get her back together. Okay, we're back, and now we're all set up. Feeling a lot better, got my tool belt on. It's always good. It's like my other arm or appendage, so I feel better. Oh, by the way, question number 2, something changed between last scene and this scene. What is it? See if you can figure that one out. In any event, all right, so back to our junction box. All is good. So on the side right there, there's a little inset button right there. So if we take our standard little slotted screwdriver action right there, and we slip that into that point, pops the little lid off, all is good. We pull it off, and now we got our wires for our little junction, okay? So super cool in here. We've got our white wire, right, which is our common, and when it ships, it has a little bit of split on it, so the insulation's been stripped but not pulled. So here's the cool news. If we just leave that on there and we twist, as we pull that off, it's gonna make sure that that is going to be ready for installation, okay? So that wire should look a little bit different to you. I don't know if you can see that, not very good. But that is a braided wire versus a solid copper wire like we've been running with on our Romex. And so we are going to have to install these a little bit differently, and I will teach you all about that. But to prep it, all we got to do is pull the little insulation cover off and twist it, and it is in good shape. So the good news is all of these little holes that you're seeing here and here, those are little punch outs where we're going to put in another fixture that allows us to bring the Romex into the junction box, keep it safe as it junctions from bare wire into our box. So I'll teach you about that little fixture. Bare wire inside, wire those two things together, roll it back up inside, take our little lid, which has 2 clips on one on the other. So if we match those up with the 2 clips on that side, we're going to bring it in, snap it down, and that little bad boy is wired up and ready to go. Now, the cool news, the way this thing works, is that we're going to cut a hole in the drywall that matches this inside diameter here, and then we'll be able to slip this up into the drywall. Check this out. These little levers, little spring-loaded ditties. So if you lift those arms up and you slide it up and into the drywall, and then you let those arms come back down, it's going to hold our light into our ceiling drywall without any screws, nuts, bolts, any other fasteners. Super sweet. And then it trims out, and it is perfect ready to go. We flip the switch, light turns on, all is good, okay? So that's gonna be our upgrade. That's what we're gonna put in this area right here. Once we get our drywall in, we're gonna texture it, we're gonna paint it, and then this becomes the last piece. So our little bare wire that's right up here, right? That's then gonna come down and it's gonna junction into our light fixture. Bada bing, we can see what we're doing when we're washing our dishes in the sink. So that little wire is just gonna stay kind of coiled up right above it. So when we cut our hole, we're gonna reach up there, grab this wire, pull it down, wire it, push it back up and in, bada bang, super clean, super simple, great looking light. I'm hoping that will work out well. Cool news is this little bad boy came in a box of 4, and so all of a sudden, very economical. I think they're less than $9 or $10 each, which you can't go bad with that kind of price point. So if these things check out, we're gonna be in good shape and have all sorts of future opportunity to put custom lighting in our homes that we're living in. So, all right, now what I wanna do is I'm gonna switch over and we're gonna head into the classroom. I'm gonna switch over to laptop presentation. So you'll hear my voice. We'll go through some slides and animations so I can get you up to speed on the basics of what we're gonna be dealing with our drywall. And hopefully, again, head knowledge coming into us out there or in the classroom so we can come out in the shop and work with our hands and use that knowledge to build something great. So let's switch out, head inside. See you there.
Well, welcome everybody. This is Mr. V coming to you live from the classroom. Thanks for getting in and being a part of our classroom session here. We're going to be covering several things today, but we're going to be starting on our work order number 3, which is our drywall installation for our kitchen wall build. And so today is all about introducing you to what drywall is, the basic tools that we're going to be working with, and then tomorrow we'll be back out in the shop and I'll be doing the live installation, working with those tools and techniques, getting us all up to speed on getting our drywall installed. So let's jump right in. Okay, first of all, what the heck is drywall? We've been talking a little bit about this in class, but I wanted to cover in a little more detail so we can get our heads around what this crazy stuff is. So first of all, we got to be aware it's known by many different names, and here's some of them, right? So plasterboard, wallboard, sheetrock, gypsum board, buster board, custard board, or gypsum panels, okay? In my trades, 35 years, I've known it as drywall, sheetrock, or just rock. So just be aware. If you hear any of those terms, that is what we're talking about. It's this substance that we're looking at right here. So what is it? Well, it's a panel made of this calcium sulfite. The chemical composed, we basically call it a gypsum, with or without adhesives, and then it typically is extruded, meaning it's under pressure and it's put through machinery, and then added 2 thin sheets of facer or backer paper on both sides. So you can see there in that detailed picture, you've got the gypsum core, and then you've got that heavy paper that faces the front and the back. Super important, there is a front and back to drywall. We want the front facing to the finish side of the room. It's going to be a light gray color. The backer is more of a brown paper type color. So super important we install it the correct way, because that front paper is designed to handle our finishes, which would include our drywall compound and our paint and so forth. So that's what the stuff is. It's like chalk, like we talked about, right? So it is strong enough to hold what we need it to hold, but it is brittle, so that we've got to handle it with care when we're installing, measure cutting, and working with. So you'll see a little bit more about what that's happening once we go hands-on out in the shop. Next, here's what it looks like here. We're typically stacking it in that vertical position if we're loading into a job site. It is heavy, it is bulky, it's 4 feet tall, 8 feet wide, and it's standard. And so it is typically a 2-person operation to handle and move things around. But we'll talk a little bit more again about that once we get out in the shop. Fourth thing about drywall, it does use various adhesives that are part of that gypsum combination that is in the drywall so that it can reduce mildew, flammability, and makes it a little less water absorption. So those are three really good things when you're putting it on both your wall surfaces and your ceiling surfaces. Mildew, of course, is produced with moisture, water, or other types of moisture that builds up and causes mildew to grow. Bad for you, bad for the house. Flammability, not good. Man, we want to keep our home safe and away from fire. So our gypsum board drywall helps us with that. And then water absorption. It will absorb water, but it's not as absorption as other materials that we could use on the wall. So it's designed to help us out. And here's really where it comes from. In the mid 20th century, drywall construction became prevalent here in the North Americas, and as both a time and a labor savings, two very good things in the construction trade, as an alternative to the traditional lath and plaster. If you haven't ever heard that term before, lath and plaster, Google that one and you'll see a really extensive heavy material, 3-4 step process, time consuming, labor intensive, lots of material. So when we were looking for an alternative, that's when drywall became part of who we are and what we do here in the North America. So you can see in that second picture, the white sections, the first 4 feet have been installed on the lower sections of those interior walls, and then working up to the ceiling section, you can see where it does not have drywall, but you can see where the recessed can lighting is in the ceiling. So this drywall is going to be the inside skin, if you will, of our homes, and super important to be able to learn how to install it properly, as well as repair it once it's been damaged after the install. So we're going to talk a lot about that. We're actually going to have an exercise that'll help us learn how to patch holes in drywall or other cracks and damages, because that literally is a life skill that you will use as long as you live in North America, where we've got drywall. So good stuff there. Here we go. So the basic tools for cutting, fitting, and installing. So this is, again, a craft that we need to learn. It's different than wood, plastics, concrete, any other type of material. But the good news is there's basically 5 tools that we use to cut, fit, and install our drywall. So let's go through these real quick. Should be no surprise, we have to measure accurately always, so our construction tape is number 1 on the list. We have to mark it properly, so we're using our construction pencil to do that. And then here's the cool news: to actually cut it, we are using a utility knife. So long cuts, short cuts, the majority of the time we're using a utility knife. We will be using other tools to make the especially cutouts for our J boxes, but I'll review that when we get there. But the great news is you can handle this material, you can measure, cut, and work with it with those 3 tools, and utility knife being the primary tool to cut. And number 4 there, if you've never used one of these bad boys, it is a large T-square. So it has a 4-foot straight edge that's going straight out from us there in the picture. And then closest to us at a 90-degree corner, it creates basically a way to create square or 90-degree corners when we're actually positioning that T-square on our drywall to make our knife cuts and scores. So that is a super critical tool to work with drywall. But last but not least, take a look at number 5 there. Again, you can see that's loaded into a driver tool, but what the heck is that particular tool, and why is it one of the basics for our cutting and installing drywall? Well, let's take a look. Okay, set it up in a challenge question, so here you go. Last question of the day. Number 3, what is this tool, and why is it so important for installing drywall like a pro, right? Lots of different tools you can possibly use to actually install, but this particular one, super simple, but it will, as you'll find out, allow you to install drywall like professionals and get great results. So here are some of our possible answers to this here question. And so you can review those on the question listed below here so that you can go ahead and submit your answer as part of today's lesson, and we'll be giving you credit for that as well. So please, once we're finished with this in-class session, jump on those questions, turn those in so that I can grade them through our online Google Classroom. But there are your ABC options. Read them, see if you can figure out, and tomorrow when we're out in the shop session, I will reveal to you how that cool tool works. I think that's about it for now. So thank you, Husky Building Company. That is your introduction to drywall, and we will be out in the shop in the next segment going hands-on and letting you know what's going on. All right, keep building things great, boys and girls. We'll talk to you soon.